Hi there. It's great to have you back on my CryptoQ Media channel. The day that this occurred, XRP ought to have been rejoicing in yet another triumph and making tremendous progress. Will you be able to handle this? It was ultimately decided to shorten the party by Gary Gensler and his companions after considerable discussion. Please enlighten me with the SEC scenario. On what side does this appeal stand? We will also make sure to cover today's XRP ETF news. Like and subscribe immediately so you won't miss a thing happening in this market. I think we can start with this one now. So, in a very interesting few days for the cryptocurrency market, we see Bitcoin plummet to nearly 60,000 with no intervention and XRP plummet to a staggering 11.5% loss in reaction to this news. It has surged to the 54-cent level as of late, but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't retrace to the line we've been tracking, which is the 50-cent range. For what purpose, though? Why has it just transpired? May I inquire as to what transpired? As we've hinted at for a while, the SEC has finally filed an official appeal. As I continue to be in awe of how they managed it, I will now raise my hands. Right now, I'm going to be entirely accurate. It is difficult for me to believe that the SEC officially filed it in light of what happened with Grayscale, how fast we advanced, and their ultimate failure on practically every front. The SEC plans to politely file an appeal with the United States Courts of Appeals for a Second Circuit challenging the final judgment entered by this court on August 7, 2024, which contradicts all previous rulings. The following question is, I assume, the next one. People are understandably concerned that this may not come to fruition due to the market's current trend of selling XRP in particular. Stewart and Brad Garlinghouse's fairly good opinion statement suggests that the SEC's decision to appeal is unfortunate but not surprising. This is just adding insult to injury for the agency. The court has already rejected the SEC's argument that Ripple behaved carelessly because no allegations of fraud were brought. There were certainly no casualties or damage. Before I read point 2. The SEC dismissed all charges against Ripple, the XRP token, Stewart, Eldertree, Chris Larson, and Brad Garlinghouse after attempting to sue them. The fact that the first claims were considered absurd by some is a contributing factor. Determining precisely what it is that they are attracted to will be an intriguing task. They are unable to merely express their disagreement with the decision and file an appeal. There has to be a motivating factor here. Without fail, St. Augustine resorts to litigation rather than relying solely on legal precedent. The agency that has been relentless in its legal attacks on the industry continues to serve as its chair. We are currently exploring the option of filing a cross appeal. No one is concerned. From the start, the SEC's action was totally irrational and ill-advised. As the industry front-runner, we're ready to prove it all over again in an appellate court. Just 1 hour before to this, the director of SEC enforcement announced his resignation, which is not a security coincidence. Evidently, this is quite interesting. Chief Gruel is the person to whom I am referring here. Ultimately, he had already stepped down an hour before. Did someone do this so that the people concerned would finally be able to stop feeling bad about losing these legal cases? You can't help but doubt their honesty after a while. That this is fascinating has to be said again. This area produced an abundance of Kerber-s. Despite being on stage during Binance's lawsuit, he has chosen to withdraw his support. They are merely making arrangements to have an acting director take his position at the moment. Not only is an XRP ETF being considered, but Gruber resigns and bang. The SEC rejects that appeal, which is fascinating in and of itself. This is really interesting. It was long ago that Gensler and the SEC would have dropped this action if they were rational, according to Brad Garlinghouse. It has damaged the SEC's reputation and credibility instead of protecting investors. Interestingly, the SEC's original intent was to protect investors, particularly those in the United States. This is the almost paradoxical aspect of the agency. In light of the SEC's revelation, how many do you think are protected by the red candle? After that, things start to get a little unclear. Why do they have to do it, though? In addition, I perceive it as only an effort to halt the momentum. It has been noted that the market has declined. Tensions are high. Depreciation of Bitcoin to 60,500. The SEC comes across as cold and calculated, in my opinion, while the House keeps insisting, let's be clear, we will fight in court for as long as we need. According to legal principles, XRP does not constitute a security. That is unaffected by this foolish and annoying request. This is really ridiculous because the SEC made it clear during their unsuccessful interlocutory appeal that they weren't going to challenge XRP's status as a non-security. As one of many things they chose not to alter, their happiness was one of them. I think 120 million, 5 million is a pretty smart choice, and I'll make sure to be a strong champion for it again. This was still not enough to convince them to pay the fine. For this reason, the fine is an extremely contentious issue. What would they do with the £125 million if they decided to appeal but were unsuccessful? In my opinion, it is the purpose of the cross-examination. It is possible that all they own could be completely destroyed. Gary Jens and the SEC Commission are making no bones about it. In my opinion, he's giving his work his best shot. As soon as the decision is made, please let me know. When it comes to XRP, the cryptocurrency community, and Gary Gensler specifically, I think this is a really important step. Be sure to look at the price. It wouldn't shock me since, as I said at the beginning of the movie, we fell to 50 cents. The truth is that I wouldn't be shocked if that happened. It seems reasonable that we would have broken through various support lines that act as moving averages, but the market is still in a state of fear. Now maybe there will be a break if the Chinese markets open. Similarly, Shenzhen is about ready to open, and Bitcoin is receiving some much needed support. Keep a watch on this low line if you're thinking about trading this. If this trend continues, I'm considering getting long after 50 cents. This could be something you can attempt. Your attention in watching my video is greatly appreciated. Click the subscribe button and then tell me what you think when you're done.